In this video, we talk about magnesium, the sex mineral, and how it can help you improve your erections and sexual functions as you age. Now I know what you're thinking. Magnesium? Isn't it just for cramps or muscle soreness? Isn't it something you get enough of if you eat your greens? Or maybe something the younger crowd worries about when they're tracking their supplements? That's what most people think, because that's how it's always been framed. A side character, a minor detail, a throwaway line in the back of a multivitamin label. But here's the truth. Magnesium is absolutely essential for men's sexual and hormonal health. And here's where it gets interesting. Because once magnesium levels are restored, not just through pills, but through smart, safe, tailored strategies, many men notice changes they didn't expect. A lighter mood, better recovery, more morning firmness, a renewed interest in touch. Not from hype, not from marketing, but because the body is finally getting what it's been asking for. Magnesium doesn't just help with muscles. It plays a core role in over 300 enzymatic reactions, including the ones involved in sexual arousal, blood vessel dilation, nerve conduction, and hormone balance. And the older we get, the more carefully we have to protect that balance, especially as absorption decreases and other conditions like high blood sugar or certain medications start to pull magnesium away. A 2021 analysis from the National Institutes of Health found that most American men over 60 consume significantly less magnesium than they need, often 100 to 200 milligrams below the daily recommended amount. And they don't even know it. For many men, performance issues after 60 are a mix of small, compounding factors, and magnesium often plays a role in several of them. For example, blood vessels that don't dilate fully. Magnesium is required to help relax vascular walls and support nitric oxide production, which is key to achieving and maintaining firmness. Poor sleep and higher stress hormones. Low magnesium is linked to elevated cortisol, nighttime waking, and disrupted REM cycles, which means less recovery, more fatigue, and a downward spiral in hormone production. Mood swings, anxiety, or lack of motivation. Magnesium helps regulate neurotransmitters like GABA and serotonin, calming the nervous system and supporting healthy emotional engagement in intimacy. Here's something most people don't realize. Magnesium deficiency doesn't always show up clearly on a standard blood test. That's because only about 1% of your body's magnesium floats in your bloodstream. The rest is inside your cells, in your muscles, bones, and tissues. So even if your doctor says your levels are normal, it's possible to be functionally low, especially if you're noticing symptoms like poor sleep, morning fatigue, irritability, muscle tightness, and decreased sexual confidence. Let's look at what's actually happening inside your body and how magnesium fits into the story. At first glance, it might seem like a stretch. How can a single mineral, something so small, affect everything from sleep to energy to performance? Let's start with blood flow. When it comes to intimacy, especially in men over 60, healthy circulation is everything. Blood has to move freely, quickly, and stay where it's needed. That depends on nitric oxide, a molecule your body uses to relax and open blood vessels. Here's the part most people don't know. Magnesium is directly involved in how nitric oxide is produced and used. Without enough magnesium, blood vessels become more stiff. The signal to dilate weakens. The result? Slower, weaker, less reliable flow, not just to the heart and brain, but everywhere it matters. Now, add in aging. As we get older, our arteries behave less like supple tubing and more like old garden hoses. They lose flexibility. They narrow slightly. That restricts the very flow that makes intimacy possible. Magnesium doesn't reverse aging, but it does help the body resist and soften those effects. Then there's the nervous system. This is the part of your body that handles arousal, touch, emotional connection, and stress. It's constantly responding to signals, both physical and mental. When magnesium is low, the nervous system becomes more sensitive to stress and less responsive to relaxation. It's like your body is stuck in alert mode, always a little tense, always a little distracted. And what does that do? It inhibits arousal, shortens attention, and makes intimacy feel like work instead of pleasure. Magnesium also plays a key role in testosterone metabolism. Now, to be clear, magnesium doesn't create testosterone, but it helps regulate the enzymes and transport proteins that allow your testosterone, especially the active, free form, to be used efficiently by your body. Here's where things get hopeful, because magnesium is one of the few nutrients that impacts all three systems at once: blood flow, hormone regulation, and nervous system balance. Which means when you support it, even modestly, you're giving your body a better chance to coordinate everything it's already trying to do. And here's something else worth remembering. Low magnesium isn't always obvious. You might not cramp. You might not have digestive issues. You might not even feel bad. But you might notice subtle things like less motivation, flatter mornings, more irritability, or intimacy that feels more effortful than natural. That's not weakness. That's not failure. That's your body asking for a different kind of support. And support doesn't have to be complicated. It starts with understanding, with being willing to look past the surface symptoms, with realizing that what's often labeled as just aging could, in part, be something far simpler and more manageable. Because here's the truth. Your nervous system wants to respond. Your hormones want to balance. Your circulation wants to flow. They just need the right tools. And magnesium? It's one of those tools. So now that you understand what's really going on inside, the question becomes, what can you actually do about it? And that's where things start to get interesting. So let's bring this home. You've probably heard people say, low testosterone causes ED, or performance just fades with age. And there's a grain of truth in both. But now that you understand what's happening inside the body and the role magnesium quietly plays in it, the picture is much more complete. Magnesium isn't a sex mineral in the flashy, quick fix sense. It's not a stimulant. It doesn't spike hormones overnight. But when magnesium is too low, which is true for most men over 60, it makes everything else worse. It doesn't cause intimacy problems directly, but it amplifies the other issues already working against you: blood vessel stiffness, stress overload, light sleep, hormonal imbalance, and emotional tension. And that means when you start correcting it gently, consistently, and safely, you unlock a set of small improvements that stack up. More stable energy, better sleep, clearer mood, more reliable performance, a renewed sense of readiness. This isn't hype. This is how your biology works. So what can you actually do? Here are 5 doctor-backed, low-risk steps most men over 60 can explore with their provider's input to support healthy magnesium levels and the systems that rely on them. Tip number 1, track your intake and close the gap. The average man over 60 needs around 400 milligrams of magnesium per day from all sources combined. But most men get 250 to 300 milligrams, sometimes less, especially with modern diets or common medications that lower absorption. Where's the gap coming from? Ultra-processed foods, lower produce intake, and age-related declines in gut absorption. A simple food log over 3 to 5 days can give you a ballpark idea. Look at what you're getting from leafy greens, beans, whole grains, nuts, and seeds. These are your biggest magnesium allies. If you're consistently falling short, it's worth addressing. Tip number 2, choose a well-absorbed form, glycinate or citrate. If dietary changes aren't enough, many men benefit from a supplement. But not all forms are created equal. Magnesium oxide, which is in many cheap multivitamins, is poorly absorbed and often causes digestive upset. Better options include magnesium glycinate, gentle on the stomach, calming for the nervous system; magnesium citrate, good absorption, slightly looser stool for some men; magnesium taurate, often used when blood pressure or heart rhythm is a concern. Start low, usually around 200 milligrams per day, and increase only if needed, based on how you feel and your provider's input. Tip number 3, time it right, especially for sleep. Your body uses magnesium in many different ways, but one of its most noticeable effects is on sleep quality. Taking your supplement about 30 to 60 minutes before bed may help calm your nervous system and support deeper rest. That, in turn, feeds back into your hormone cycle, energy levels, and emotional readiness the next day. If you're someone who wakes up frequently, tosses and turns, or just feels unrest in the morning, optimizing magnesium could help restore that cycle. Tip number 4, move daily, even just 20 minutes. Magnesium works best when the rest of your system is moving. Daily walking or light resistance training improves insulin sensitivity, reduces inflammation, and helps your body use magnesium more efficiently. Even better, regular movement supports testosterone metabolism, increases nitric oxide output, and reduces vascular stiffness, all of which improve performance over time. No need to overdo it. Just consistency over intensity. 20 minutes a day adds up faster than you think. Tip number 5, zoom out. It's the system, not just the supplement. This is where a lot of men go wrong. They find out about magnesium, start taking a pill, and expect overnight change. But as you've learned in this video, magnesium doesn't work in isolation. It supports a network. So if you're sleeping poorly, dealing with chronic stress, eating a heavily processed diet, missing movement or meaningful connection, then magnesium is still important, but it won't carry the load alone. That's not discouraging. That's empowering, because it means you have more than one way to feel better. And when these changes stack, even just 1 or 2 at a time, the results feel real. Not dramatic, not exaggerated, just quietly better. Clearer mornings, calmer evenings, stronger connections. And if one of these steps speaks to you, try it this week. Not everything, just one. See how your body responds. Track your sleep, your mood, your confidence, and share your experience with someone who might need to hear it. You deserve real answers. You deserve a plan that makes sense for your age, your biology, and your goals. And sometimes, it starts with something as simple as a forgotten mineral. If this gave you clarity, consider subscribing or share it with someone else who's been wondering why things feel off lately, because the right insight at the right time really can make a difference. And always remember, all information provided in this video and channel is for educational and informational purposes only. Always consult a medical professional about your specific circumstances and before making any changes to your lifestyle, diet, supplements, or medication.